Bluff City NIL is official partner of Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or follow them on social media at Coaching for Literacy. Your donations to Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together. So we thank you for supporting Memphis Tigers student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause of childhood literacy.
Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, TJ Willis and Trey Lasley. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
Bounce, go wow, TJ. Can you hear this?
No, I cannot hear that at all, actually.
Really?
No, is it coming in your headphones?
No.
Can you sing it for me? I can't hear it.
We are the champions. No time for cougars, 'cause we are the champions of the American Conference Tournament. I also need to adjust this really quickly. Boom. It's like I'm on the podium with the boys. Look at that trophy.
Looks good, dude.
How freaking good does it feel, man? What a revenge tour. We're freaking champions. In honor of bringing that trophy home, TJ, tell the beautiful listeners what we're drinking tonight.
Tonight we have
None other.
Soul and Spirits. Bring it home.
Because we brought that junk home. This is our first Soul and Spirits, isn't it?
Yeah, I was supposed to say, if you're not familiar, Soul and Spirits is kind of a newer brewery here in Memphis, and we're gonna give it a go and just see what it's going on. See what it's like.
It says produced for kings and queens.
I think champions are kings, right?
We are the kings of the American. That's for damn sure. The stashes live to see another week.
You're not lying.
Wow.
Feel free to join in us. Mustache madness.
I bought these earlier today, and I threw them in the freezer. You know, my wife delivered yours to you.
She did.
I have a beer frosty right now. I mean, this is a beer icy. It is frozen.
It's definitely chilly. I'll give you that. They have kept it cold. She did that quite well.
That's a first on the program. All right, TJ, let's jump into it. 3 games in 3 days. You started off Friday night. You got revenge 1 out of the way, UCF. Solid first half. You're up 10 at half. You end up winning the game by 5. They mounted a little bit of a comeback there, but overall you did what you had to do. Advanced to Saturday. Really probably felt like you should have beat UCF 3 times this year. But hey, sending them out with 2 losses the last 2 times you played, get on out to the Big 12 ain't such a bad thing.
Yeah, that was a wild one too. Way different than the first time we played them, than that double overtime game. DeAndre and Kendric just going bananas. I forget what the stat was. It was like the first time in conference play, 2 dudes going for 30. That was nuts.
Bananas. I think they said it was the first time since the 70s, I want to say, that 2 Tigers had gone for 30 in the same game. But for real, I mean, absolutely wild second half. They scored 38 of 41 points that we scored in the second half. That is unbelievable.
it almost felt surreal at times. It almost felt like it was like too good to be true. Your two best players were going crazy, and it's like, okay, somebody else is going to have
One
to
of
step
them's
up
going to
here
start
eventually.
missing shots. Yeah. Or something, right? Like DeAndre's going to get in foul trouble. Somebody has got to score. No, they just kept on. I mean, absolutely wild video game. Like for two of, I mean, we've seen one dude go off like that, but for both of them to be just, what'd they call it? Kill mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them into kill mode. 35 from DeAndre and 33 from KD. 68 of your 81 points.
My rule is typically shoot 50% from three and you'll win the game. I think 47% will work on 19 attempts. I think that will be sufficient.
We'll round up. We will round up to that.
The stat stands firm.
The two of them, 9 of 13 from three. DeAndre got to let that thing fly more. I think he's shooting like 43% from three. Just let it fly. 42.
Here recently, he's definitely found that shot. It kind of went away for a bit, but it's back now.
It's so slow, but it goes in.
Yeah.
Even his little step back, where a lot of time I'm like, okay, Drano. It doesn't even hit rim. It's just straight through the net. He launches.
He shoots it like,
moon balls.
He's way back here. Yeah. It's kind of unblockable, even if it is slow.
I mean, it looks like us shooting on that Nerf hoop at the bachelor party the other day before the chicken nuggets. So you get your revenge Friday. The good thing about, we talked about being the 2 seed, you played earlier. So Tulane had to play the late game, and then Saturday, I mean, the ultimate revenge game. You wanted, I mean, this was the one that I wanted the most. You felt like going in the tournament, even if you did probably maybe lose a close one in UCF, you're still in. Obviously, your seating's probably affected. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I mean, just an absolute, it should have been a mercy rule, to be honest with you. We gave those fools a 40 piece. They want fries with that? A 40 burger on your head. I mean, that is exactly what I wanted to see with us playing them again.
You know what's bad about that is we literally beat them so bad. They were eliminated from the NIT. And I don't know that to be true, but like,
should be eliminated.
It's not
from basketball. You just lost by 40 points. And I mean, we had Connor Glennon dropping dimes on you. He had as many assists as Cook and Forbes combined. In what, a minute and a half? I mean, freaking Ian Granja draining threes from the wing in front of the bench. The whole team was locked in. They knew it. KD said something about it post game. Said, he mentioned when they were here, I want to say it was Forbes. One of them turned, early in the game, those two technicals, one of them turned and said something to Penny. That just doesn't fly, man. I mean, ideally, you win the game at home to take care of that, but hey.
Sure.
I will take the 2 losses for this 40-point beat down. I mean, we hadn't beaten anybody by more than 19 all year. And what, that was like Alabama State? A 40 burger?
I think so, yeah.
Goodness gracious. Hey,
and it felt like it could have been more, honestly.
Oh yeah. I mean, it could have been a 50 burg.
I don't know. I mean, we've only talked about the first 2 games, but Kendric and DeAndre have been incredible the entire tournament time. Again, 30 points each, 20 points each. Just, I mean, I don't remember what Kemba's number was. I think he played in more games in the conference tournament, but I'd be curious to know if Kendrick's close.
You mean from a just total point scoring through the tournament?
Yeah, total point. Yeah.
Well, he did set at least the American record. I want to say, is it 83 through the 3 games combined? Yeah, I think Kemba at least played 4. That Big East tournament. Wasn't it the Big East?
It may have been more. Yeah. But I think on average perspective, I'd be curious to know how close it was. He went on a tear.
We'll probably talk about this a little bit later too, but are we about to get a Kendric Kemba version in the NCAA tournament? I mean, we already got a little bit in the American. Is he going to We gonna ride this Kendric wave? I mean, Kendric and DeAndre had a double-double every game.
Yeah. Kendrick's never played in the tournament, so no one knows what to expect from tournament Kendrick, right?
Hey,
It's kind of
I
like a
will
new
say
version
this:
of him.
the kid shines in the spotlight.
Definitely. Definitely.
There's that statistic out there about best performers in quad one games. Now, we didn't play a ton of quad one games, but he was averaging like 30 points a game against quad one opponents. It's like 10 more than the next closest guy. I mean, he steps up in the spotlight. We saw it all weekend long. But hey, your 50% from three rule was almost in effect again, 43%, 13 out of 33s against the Green Wave on Saturday.
Maybe the real number is 40, and I just say 50 for padding, right?
It might be. You might bring it down to 40 and get away with
I think
it.
it also depends on the attempts, right? Like, what was the attempts on that? Only 12. That's kind of pushing it.
What, for Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't. But hey, you did what you needed to do. So anyway, absolute beat down, sucker of Tulane, 40 Berg, which sets up what everybody was looking forward to. The rematch from a week ago with the Cougars for a trophy. Something we haven't done since joining the American. Been 10 years since we won a conference tournament. We've made a couple conference finals. Made it last year. Made it. Did we make it with Tubby against Cincy? Wasn't that in the conference finals?
I think so. I think that's actually right.
I think you were up 10 at half too in that game. Yeah, because people were worried he's about to keep his job if he got the auto qualifier. But man,
what a wild statement.
Absolutely setting up the scene. You're like second to last, if not the last game before the selection show starts. And dude, I'm going to be honest with you. It felt like we were about to do to them what we had done to Tulane the day before. Kendric hits those back-to-back threes. You go up 20. You're up 40 to. You know what it really felt like? And our buddy Jonathan and I were talking about this yesterday. It really felt like the 08 tournament run. That Elite Eight, Sweet 16, Texas, Michigan, where you're up 50 to 30, like at 50 to
just
20. I mean, it
people.
felt like, they were just locked in and about to be running everybody out of the gym.
That was a wild one just because of how much you were up at halftime against a good team. Granted, we know they didn't have Sasser, but I don't think that should matter. Walker's good. Shed's good. The whole team is good. Everyone is good on that team, no matter what. They're well disciplined. They play well. They make smart plays, and you found a way to kind of stomp them really until the second half. Things kind of started falling off the cart.
And, it got
a little dicey there.
Got a little shaky about midway through the second, but yeah, you got 31 out of KD again, 3-6 from three. 10 of 21 from the field, 100% from the free throw line. Another big game out of DeAndre, 16 and 13, so another double-double. You just got Elijah had a good game, 4 or 6 from the field. Alex, a great game, 4 or 5. At that NBA 3, where did that come from?
I think it was way deep.
Just
way deep.
Raining. And then, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the big nuts play. Just picking pockets in an and one to put us up 13 after Houston had made that run. Are you kidding me? And then I can't even imagine. I feel like this was something that I would potentially do, but watching him do it, and you can see him screaming. That's very evident. He's not making up what he
exactly
said.
What he said.
He said it. And I'm not a lip reader by any means, but can you just imagine doing that at a basketball game and then just screaming out, "I got big nuts"?
No, not a chance.
He said it was like an out-of-body experience, and I believe him. But not only did he say that and do that, he then straight up told the nation. He didn't and I think that's the funniest part about it is Penny and Katie and DeAndre are sitting by him, and he gets asked the question, And I think they think a little bit too, like he's about to like not really tell them what he said. No, he just straight up said, I got big nuts and it's the truth. And so I told them. Like, I mean, dude wasn't
That's pretty
lying.
wild.
He told us
Yeah,
straight up.
it's just such a wild thing to say. Like I get yelling it out like in the middle of a basketball game because you're kind of far away from people. Like, is the mic really going to pick it up?
Though?
Probably
Like,
not. But
I don't know.
I mean, like I get him being just pumped up, and you just say kind of crazy shit when you're pumped up. But like,
yeah,
imagine yelling out, "I got big nuts" after making a play.
Do you like just the grab that he did? I've always been a fan of like the walk, like like you're carrying him.
Like for Major League.
I wish he would. If he'd have done that, I'd have lost my mind because live in the moment, I didn't see him like actually hand gesturing anything.
No.
But if he had done that coming off that foul and just like walked to the free throw line like that, I would be dead probably.
Yeah, that was like the Major League symbol where they're like running from base to base doing that.
I would have choked from laughing so hard.
All right, that'd have been great. I think that'd have been top tier type stuff. But it's still great just to know that he said it. And even when he said it in like the press conference, like everybody's like giggling and laughing because they probably heard it and they were like, "Oh God, I can't believe he even just mentioned that."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's no way that they thought that he was really about to tell them what he really said. But no, straight raw and unfiltered. Alo, you gotta love it. You gotta love it from the 5th-year senior. I mean, Alo, if you're listening, we know you are. When you do it, either Friday or Sunday, just make sure you include the walk with it, or maybe throw them over your shoulder. Like a satchel, Santa's pack. I don't know. Be a little more animated with that.
We've talked about how great Kendric has been, how great DeAndre has been, Alex has been great. One person we haven't talked about, I think, is Chandler Lawson. Probably hasn't gotten enough recommend. Why can't I say the word?
I don't know. I'll write him a recommendation. Recognition.
I mean, yeah, recognition. Thank you. I kept saying recognition. I was like, that is not even a word. The recognition, going 1 from 3, picking up 4 boards. It's just the little things that he does that it just helps the team. Like there's so many times where he makes cuts where I'm just like, that's artist. Like that's art. Like you just made a perfect cut.
But it's not even, it's the cut. And like, I know exactly. You're talking about the dunk yesterday. Like it's also DeAndre making the right play. The double team comes, he sees Chandler cutting to the basket and hits him with a good, clean, crisp pass. Like we're just playing the best basketball. I mean, arguably that we've played under Penny in all 5 years. And they've been playing some daggum good basketball around this time the last 4 years.
I think, to be fair, you also have the 2 best players that have played under Penny.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this entire week, you had the 2 best players on the floor in all 3 games.
Yeah.
And that was very evident. So, again, your first conference title, I mean, I could not be more. Look, like, I'm not going to lie. 3 weeks ago, we were sitting here talking about how we were going to be like 4th in the or just like, hey, are we going to make sure we get a bye? Right. You lost to Tulane at home. You'd lost to UCF. So for them to battle back, finish 2nd, and then win the thing, I mean, a heck of a job. Road freaking Warriors. A heck of a job.
Yeah, I think one thing that going back to just kind of, we were kind of talking ourselves off the ledge, like what's going on here? We're really about to finish 4th in the American. Like this is not ideal. I think the one thing we didn't take in consideration is how much Kendric and DeAndre want this. Like it's something seemed to have clicked at some point because they have just turned it on. And granted, obviously it hurts losing Keontae. He's been incredible, but just trying to find that third guy, it's kind of toggled between a couple of different people. But Kendric and DeAndre was like, we can really just run this as a 2-man show if we need to, which is kind of wild to think about. But
which they did need to on Friday.
Every game.
If they hadn't done it Friday, we might not have been there Saturday. But no, you're right. Exactly. Like, and it felt like that in the first half. And I mean, some people are going to say like Sasser didn't play. There's an asterisk. Houston wasn't, I don't want to say going as hard, but to me, it definitely felt like, at least in that first half, and even times in the second, that we wanted it more. Like you could just
Sure.
see in the celebration, in the intensity that they were playing with, like, and then you see it after the game, like in the post game celebration, right? Like Kendric just pumped out of his mind, emotion. Penny with all his emotion, DeAndre with all like, I mean, that's what Kendric came here to do, right? He said Penny promised him coming here to win a championship, and then them being able to do that, and then still having more to play for. Like they're accomplishing what they set out to accomplish as of now.
Yeah, I don't get it. The asterisk thing is so dumb. Like injuries are a part of the game. That doesn't mean that Roberts is going to stop playing. Walker's going to stop playing. Shed's going to stop playing. What's the other dude's name? Marks isn't going to stop playing. Like Mark, yeah. Like they have so many talented players. Like, yes, that is the most crucial piece to their team, it seems. I think people would argue that he and Shed could go back and forth on who really is the best player. But to me, I think that a lot of it runs through him. And without Sasser, they're not as good.
Sure.
I mean, I think if we're just being honest, but that's still a really good team, and you played them pretty close without your best player. So,
right. I mean, it's not
just
like
a part
you're
of the
playing.
Game. What are we talking about?
It's not like you're playing just a top 100 team without their best guy. Like they're the number one team in the country, right? Like they've got other dudes. So sure, Sasser was out, but let's be honest. Like a week ago, it was Shed that was tearing us up.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that puts a little more pressure on him to be the primary ball handler. He doesn't have Sasser there to kind of facilitate as well. But dude, like you said, we're not fully healthy either. We don't have Keontae. Alo's been out. Malcolm's been out.
Yeah.
KD missed a game. A half a game.
It's basketball. It is what it is.
No asterisk. That's a real championship.
I'll ask you this. Someone asked me this question. It was our friend Jacob. Would you rather win the conference tournament or be the regular season champion? In the
conference tournament is more fun.
I think it is more fun, but I toggle back and forth.
I mean,
you can't brag about the regular season.
Yeah, like I get it, but it's not like celebrated in any way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's over the course of the entire conference season, but I mean, you're going to that tournament to win the tournament, and we won the tournament.
Sure. I said tournament as well. It's something that goes on your resume. No one's saying regular season champion 2023.
That's a trophy and a ring. I mean, do you get a trophy for being the regular season champion?
I wouldn't imagine why you would. I don't know why you would.
I mean, I guess you get like a ring, maybe.
Do you?
They probably will get one. I don't know if you do or not, but give me the trophy and the conference champion or conference tournament championship all day. All day, every day. There is nothing better than basketball in March. I mean, these are the best like 3 weeks right now of the year.
Freaking cutting nets, dude.
Oh,
no.
I thought you were saying 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, cutting anytime you can cut. Which, can we talk about that?
What's that?
Which is going to also fall into our next conversation around the seating. But you mentioned cutting nets. How weird was it that they had like 5 minutes to celebrate and then had to rush into it? Like Coach Borman was on the radio this morning talking about it, and he essentially was like, we got off the platform. They walked us through a tunnel. We sat down, and as soon as we sat down, the selection show was starting. Like he had no time to like, he couldn't call his family, like nothing. They had no time to even like, he was like, we were fully expecting, and I knew it was probably going to be that close because it always starts at 5, but it's like,
sure.
He was basically saying like, I was, it was his first time going through it as a coach. Like he'd played for Duke. So he'd been through it as a player, but he was like, we didn't get to go back to the locker room and have any sort of like post-game celebration or talk from coach. Like we get off the stage and then have to immediately go into this back room and watch it, like be filmed watching a TV while we're waiting to get selected. And then after a 30-minute show, then they go back out onto the court and then start cutting the nets. And it's like,
that's so weird
from an American and just from a seating. Like it feels to me like the championship either needs to be bumped up earlier or even put on Saturday. Like, just start the tournament a day earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, from a seeding perspective, I don't feel like yesterday really did anything. And it should have.
Well, yeah, I think they've said so much that, like, basically if you are a conference champion, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to change much in most cases, especially if you're an 8 or a 9. I think if anything, this tells us that, Memphis was maybe on the verge of being a 9, and by winning that tournament, they were just an 8.
Maybe.
Right.
Which, to me, I don't feel like we're an 8 or a 9. And I don't know how you feel. I don't feel we were seated appropriately.
I think that you would have to take a lot in consideration looking at the other teams. Like, what did A&M end up getting? I don't know why.
I believe they're a 7.
So they're higher than us, and they are 12-7 in quads 1 and 2. And Memphis is 13-7.
And you beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, see, I was fully expecting you win yesterday. You're a 7, and I could have seen an argument for potentially a 6, especially given the fact that Kentucky's a 6. They lost to Vanderbilt twice last week, and essentially didn't matter. And how is that possible?
Yeah, they are 12-8 against 1 and 2.
So another that
the first and second quads,
right? That you have one more win in those quads then. But the other part of it is, like, after yesterday, we finished 19 at KenPom. We finished 23 in the net. Like, metric-wise, we are not an 8 seed.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was expecting sevens to have like maybe 1 or 2 extra quad 1 wins, but
to maybe
in terms of resume, not really.
And it's not,
I'm seeing higher seeds with worse records.
Right. And it's they played in the SEC and, wherever. But, like, we were 4-1 against the SEC, with your lone loss being at the top overall seed in the NCAA tournament by 3 points without a starter for the second half.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if we're not going to take into account the conference tournaments for seeding that just doesn't make sense to me, honestly. Like, maybe they factor a little bit, but if you got a team, I mean, that the whole purpose of this is, like, teams getting hot in March and playing their best basketball, and we are obviously doing that, and I just don't feel like we are appropriately rewarded for that. Like, we've lost 2 games in the last month, both to Houston. One without Kendric on the road, and one as a buzzer beater, and then you beat them yesterday. So it's like you got it back, and you just don't really get anything from it. I don't know.
Yeah, Northwestern was 11-11 against 1 and 2, the first 2 quads, essentially. And that's going 7-6 against quad 1 and 4-5 against quad 2. Here's the problem with a lot of this is I feel like if we look at it, and this is not Mizzou. I was expecting to see a lot of the Big Ten schools on there, and they all pretty much just cannibalized each other. So they all just have like these wild quad 1, quad 2 opportunities where they're like all going 11-11 or something like that.
Northwestern is 42nd. And the committee's supposed to be looking at these metrics. Like, they have said that these are all available. They're all given to them. 42nd in KenPom, and they're a 7 seed. I don't know. I just felt like we would be a 7 at worst, potentially a 6, especially seeing where some of these other teams ended up. The other thing, and we're in it now, but I don't feel like our matchup on the 9 side is a 9, really. I mean, a 31-3 ball club. They're sitting at 26th in KenPom. I mean, I get it. They haven't played anybody, right?
I think we know why they're a 9. You don't want to. I guess giving them a 9 is kind of saying like, hey, you guys were good. but they go 31-3. But they played no one. They have a terrible strength of schedule. They did beat Florida, but then they get smoked by Ole Miss. North Texas is probably their best game outside of that, and that's literally it. Like other than that, they played teams that are roughly the same as Tulsa the rest of the time around.
Yeah,
so like, it's so hard to reward them, but it's also like, here's a 9. If you can beat Memphis, show that you belong. Well, here's a chance at Purdue. You kind of throw them a bone, but they're going to have to prove it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their best wins metrically are UAB and North Texas. Both of which I believe is UAB in the NIT.
I don't know. You can look it up. I haven't even looked at the NIT, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. I can tell you who's not in the NIT, and that's Tulane.
Suckers.
Nerds. I've picked up some just like animosity towards Tulane. Not really sure why.
I mean, it's easy to do.
I think it's because someone said that Tulane had overseeded Memphis as the better athletic the better athletic program, which is kind of bananas to say, but
it's not true. But it felt like it a little bit when they beaten us and everything all the time. But we brought it back. It felt like all the time. You beat us in football and then twice in basketball. But now everything in the world is right.
Yeah. You're freaking tabula rasa, dude. We're back.
Are you having an earthquake over there? What's going on?
I have a touch screen.
Your stuff is shaking all over the place.
I know. I'm scraping.
People are going to get motion sickness. You need to chill out.
I didn't even think about the camera part. I was just trying to get whatever's on my screen off.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. All right. So what are your initial thoughts on our draw over there in the East? I'll say right off the bat, I'm just glad they didn't ship us out west.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because I feel like that happens more often than not.
Yeah. I think it'd have been a terrible matchup. No one would, I don't say no one would travel, but you get in those situations where they're throwing the game in Sacramento and it's just kind of like
yeah, with a few days notice, unless you got your own plane or a lot of money.
Yeah, all the planes sitting around. No, I think in terms of the East in general, like the East bracket,
a lot of big.
To me, it's pretty dang tough just from the name aspect of it all. I mean, Purdue, Memphis, Virginia, Tennessee. Is this right? This is not right. What am I looking at? Why are you lying to me?
No. Purdue, Memphis, Duke, Tennessee.
CBS, you liar.
Kentucky, Providence, Kansas State, Michigan State, USC, Marquette.
Yeah, like what?
I mean, you got a lot of big names over there.
Yeah. Now this makes more sense now. Yeah, and it's not even just like big names in terms of the schools, but like coaches that have been there. Like Matt Painter is good. Musselman at Arkansas is good.
Freaking Izzo.
Izzo, like, do we need to talk about Izzo? I mean, how often is that dude going in there? Freaking Ed Cooley has Providence going to the tournament all the time, I feel like. Andy Insfield is okay, but they have Boogie. So, like, maybe there's some type of revenge factor in that. And USC is going to go on a tear to somehow find a way to meet up with Memphis. I don't know. I'm talking crazy.
What if they'd have done that, made us the 7 and Michigan State the 8, and we would have been first round matchup with Boogie?
That'd have been so sick.
That'd have been something. You know what I don't like them matching us up with Florida Atlantic. Like 2 G5 schools. We're going to be conference mates next year. Like, I just feel like they do that all the time where they match up G5 schools against each other in the first rounds.
Yeah, that part's definitely not ideal in terms of looking for a better matchup, right? We've gone through this. If you're an FAU fan, you've watched, I guess Memphis is probably a pretty big name for FAU, relatively, right?
This is the Montgomery Bowl all over again.
It is true. I didn't think about that. But like for Memphis, playing FAU is not like you're not excited about that. It's not the same as the idea of getting to play one of these Power 5 conferences. Power 5, and that's not a phrase in basketball, but
Yeah.
these bigger name conferences and these bigger name teams, it's just not the same draw. So I do wonder that Memphis kind of gets in their own head, like, all right, we don't have to worry about these guys. They haven't played anybody. Like their strength schedule
I'm not
is
gonna
dog
lie
water.
to you, Timothy. I'm kind of in that feel. I mean, I will say
I get it.
when FAU popped up, I mean, I feel like we should win on Friday.
No,
They ain't played nobody.
They definitely have not played anybody. And if you look at their non-conference strength of schedule, I just had this pulled up. Florida Atlantic sitting at 248.
Yeah, and we're what, like top 30?
Much higher than that. 24th. Yes.
Yeah, 24. See, that's another reason I feel like we should have been higher seeded.
You're battle tested. That's the biggest thing that you can say about Memphis is like they've been there, they've done it. They faced Alabama, they faced Houston a handful of times.
You have
now.
played 4 games against number 1 seeds already this year.
But I think the fallback to that is what do you have to show from that? You know, I think that's kind of, if I can get in the mind of the bracketologist as to why Memphis is in a 7, it's probably that reason. You like could pull away with 1. Just to play devil's advocate, right?
So they're like, let's throw a 5th at them right away. First weekend, let's make them play a 5th 1 seed.
Yeah, I think it's a show me game for both of them because it's kind of the same argument I made with FAU earlier. Like, yes, Memphis has been good. Yes, they have gone on these strong tears, but then they lose to Tulane.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe they're not as good. Like, what's really going on there? And you're really just trying to find out who's real, who's not between FAU and Memphis. And, you know, we as Tiger fans, we just saw it. You had 2 guys out of the starting 5 just go bananas and no one else could get it done. So it's like, okay, well, if FAU can neutralize these 2, do they have a shot at beating Memphis? You know, there's a lot of questions that I think still need to be answered despite this incredible tournament run we just had. But I don't mind the matchup. I kind of get it and I like it. And bring on Purdue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it at all. It's not a big name, right? So to me a little bit, I'm overlooking them. Let me just be honest.
It's not sexy. I'll give you that.
It's sexy at all. Sexy. But I will say to be an 8 or 9, and if you were matched up with a 1, we talked about it, I think, before, and Purdue and Edie and how you're going to handle them. But I think this is the best draw. I mean, it's already getting a ton of picks nationally. I mean, left and right, I'm seeing people pick us Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4. Evan Mayen, his last official tournament projection simulation, basically had this exact layout of us first FAU in the first round and then us first Purdue in the second game, and had us going to the Final 4.
Yeah.
I've already seen one from Heat Check B-Ball today that's got us coming out of the East. And I'll tell you this, I saw today on DraftKings, right now we have the 4th highest percentage of bets placed on us to come out of the East bracket. Now, it's only 5%, but it's the 4th best out of the 16 teams in that bracket.
I'll tell you what, if you are a fan of Bart Viktorovic, he actually has something called Tournament Time, and it's odd-based. And Memphis has a 60% chance to reach the round of 32, and then he puts it at a 24% chance to reach the round of 16, which, for what it's worth,
I'll take it.
I think
Give me a
1% is
1 in 4 shot.
Yeah, it's essentially what you're getting is a 1 in 4 shot. Yeah,
I will take it. All right, so Friday, game 1. What is it? 8:20 Central. They're Eastern, so it's 9:20 arena time against the Owls from Boca Raton. 31-3 on the year. They are your Conference USA champs, both regular season and tournament, under the direction of Dusty May. Initially, like I said, I'm not terribly worried. They do shoot the ball well from three. They match up metrically with us pretty evenly. Like I said, they're 26th in KenPom, 36th defensively, 32nd offensively. And KenPom right now has got it at a 1-point Tiger victory. The line,
Wow,
when I saw it open, was at like 3 or 3.5. I think it is now down to 2, maybe. So people are thinking it'll be a good game. They shoot the ball well.
Yeah.
They are 30th in the country in three-point percentage at 37.2%, and they are 32nd in the country at two-point percentage at 54.3. Now, the caveat to that is, and it doesn't feel like this, I know our buddy Charlie would not think that this was accurate, but we are 28th in the country in three-point defense, holding opponents to 30.8%. And at times it does not feel like that is true.
I'd say that feels really low.
It feels like there are some wide open threes at times that the people are just raining in on us, but I guess we I don't know. We're just thinking of the bad, not thinking of all the clanks that have been. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, if anybody gets hot from three, anybody can beat anybody.
Sure.
So
yeah,
I think especially in this case, I mean, you can't be leaving dudes open in the corner. Got to be closing out, and you got to get rebounds. Like if they get hot from three, then there's no telling what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's actually the first thing I noticed when looking at this team. I was like, wow, they have a couple of dudes that put up pretty good shots. I mean, you're talking 5 attempts a game, 4 attempts a game, 3 attempts a game.
Yeah.
Three attempts a game. I mean,
they're letting that thing fly.
The lowest one is at 35%. The next guy, 37, 41, 39, 39. Like all these guys are letting it fly, but they also have a 7-footer. And you're like, okay, how does that factor into it? It turns out he's a 7-footer who doesn't rebound and he only plays 20 minutes a game. So it's like, okay, well, this seems like it may be in our favor in this instance.
Yeah. And that's a nice little preview for, I mean, obviously, Anita, you're talking about a National Player of the Year candidate, but just from a true size perspective, like it'll at least give you the feeling that you're going to see potentially on Sunday. But no, John L. Davis, 6'4" guard, shooting 40% from three. Elijah Martin, 6'2", 37.7. Those are their two leading guard contributors, at least. So you're going to have to defend the three, run them off the line, and rebound the basketball. Keep Golden that 7-1 center when he is in the game. And even though T just told you he doesn't rebound the ball great, but I mean, you got to keep him off the glass. If there was anything yesterday that needed improvement, it was keeping Houston off the offensive glass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's a tip of the whole year, right? We've talked about rebound, and you don't even have to win the rebound battle. You just can't let it be so lopsided that it's obviously what's going wrong with the game, right?
Yeah. I mean, Houston had 22 offensive rebounds yesterday. You can't let that happen in the tournament.
Fun fact, Florida Atlantic is 126 in tempo. I don't know how much tempo really matters in the grand scheme of things because I say they're 126, whereas Memphis is...
I don't think we're as high as it feels like we are at times.
No, we're at 17th. It's 71.
Oh, we are? Okay.
But we're talking about an extra like 6 to 7 possessions a game. Like
I mean,
the rating looks wild. Yeah, it definitely adds up. But we do play fast and we do often push the ball. And that's kind of why we were kind of working Houston in the first half of that game was just pace.
Yeah, you just don't let them get set up defensively and it plays to your advantage, right? Like as long as you're making shots. If you're not, it can turn pretty ugly.
Yeah, I would expect this game to be very similar. Push the pace, Just let your guys go to work. I like the matchup of DeAndre not being the 5. Kind of let him mark up against their smaller guy and just let him work, right?
Yeah.
As long as you can rotate Chandler
Put Chandler on Golden, maybe throw KO in there just for a different look.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're gonna have to do that Sunday against ED anyway. Like, you might as well.
Same game plan.
Yeah.
Same game plan. I don't know. We'll see, right? They are a great 3-point shooting team. It stands firm with, if you look at all their stats, they are a 3-point shooting team. There's no way you can, deny that. I'd have to go back and look how we compare against a lot of those powerhouse 3-point shooting teams. Alabama comes to mind, and we did pretty dang well against them. So I don't know. I feel good about it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I feel pretty good too. The other thing, and people talk about this all the time, is like guard play in March is what's most important. And not just guard play, it's usually veteran guard play. And arguably we have 2 of the best veteran guards in the country, right? Like, maybe not Alo offensively. I mean, he's been playing decent offensively, but just from a leadership, hustle, winning plays, like you saw it yesterday, prime example, Houston coming back, he gets the pickpocket and the layup and one. Like, it's stuff like that. And FAU's, they've got some good guards, and they've been playing well together. They're smart, but they're young.
Not even just that they're young, they're also not very big. We're talking about
we hadn't even touched on that.
6'4" Davis, Elijah Martin, 6'2". Obviously, Golden is a 7-footer. Nick Boyd, 6'3". I mean, decent size.
Yeah,
but
Greenlee's 6 foot, Forrest 6'1". Yeah, I mean, they're not towering over anybody.
Yeah, you're just telling me that Alo and this person are more eye to eye, and I'm going to take the man who locks people down for a living.
Yeah, and then
you got 6'6". Jaden's a body like that. We have big body.
Even Damari is a
really
bigger,
these guys.
stronger guard, right?
He's jacked.
Like, I think you match up very well from a physicality standpoint, right? And that's the other thing is, like, if you play them as physical as you would play like a Houston, are they going to be able to handle that? Right. And I would tell you no, honestly.
They don't foul a lot. That's actually something I'm curious to see how that's going to work.
But they also hadn't tried to guard Kendric Davis in the open court. So we'll see.
Good luck.
You get a couple of switches of that Golden dude, 7'1", trying to guard Katie. Somebody's going to foul somebody.
Yeah.
Or be put on skates. One or the other. All right, Tej, what are you feeling on Friday? You think they're able to pull it out?
Yeah, I think Tigers win this one. I don't think it's going to be any type of blowout. Like, I don't think it's going to be the 40 burger from Tulane by any means.
I would love that, but yeah, I don't think you're getting a 40 burg dub in the tourney.
No, for me, it's the Kendric. I don't think anyone on FAU could stop Kendric. He is the best guard in this conference. He is,
or DeAndre for that matter. I mean, who's guarding DeAndre?
They talked about this on the Bluff of like who is a better duo in the American than DeAndre and Kendric, and I don't think they are matched by anyone as good as Shed and Sasser can be, or even the other Walker. I don't know who you want to add in there. I don't think anyone matches up with them comparatively, and that runs true with FAU. I don't think anyone can hang with them. I just think they're the best 2 players that.
They will be the best.
I think they'd be the best 2 players. Yeah, I think they'll be the best 2 players on the court if we make it to Purdue as well. In terms of a combo, like Edie is great. Right. Don't get me wrong, but who is their second best player? Like, if you were to score them,
I don't know that they know. Yeah. All right. No, I agree with you. I think we pull out a dub Friday. It may end up, like we said, FAU could get hot from 3. Could be one of those things where you get up 10-12 and then they make some threes late to cut it closer. But I think ultimately we end up with the dub. I'm gonna take the 2. I think the Tigers cover if it is at 2. Even if it's at 3, I'm probably taking it. I think
it's
like
up 5, 6.
Oh, it's up already?
No. I would take it up.
Oh, you would take it. Yeah. No, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like it's a 6, 7-ish range, 8 maybe. You get out of there. I think you just overwhelm them with your physicality, senior leadership, DeAndre.
Yeah, the maturity.
Yeah, speed them up, turn them over, and you come out of there with a dub. So they pull that out unless lightning strikes twice, because it's only struck once in this scenario. You should be facing a Purdue team on Sunday, I would say probably afternoon or evening. I think that's a matchup a lot of people would want to see, is Memphis Purdue. At least from a national perspective, a lot of people have already talked about sort of that matchup, and Purdue being one of the number one seed that's probably most at risk of losing in the first round. We talked about outside Edey, I don't know that they really know who they have. They have a couple freshman guards who have been playing well for freshmen, especially freshmen that weren't really highly touted. But recently down the stretch, I mean, going into the Big Ten Conference, they'd lost 4 out of their last 8 in the Big Ten. Lost Indiana twice, Northwestern, and Maryland.
Yeah.
And have struggled. Their guards have struggled with pressure. I don't know if you watched any or saw any of the Penn State game Sunday. They were up 17 with 6 minutes left, and Penn State turned up the pressure. They squeaked out of there with a 2-point win.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. We've got the senior guards, the veteran guards, 5th-year guys going up against some freshman guards. If you can pick the pace up, and I think, TJ, you even tweeted about it, you went back and looked at some. If you can pick the pace up for Purdue, make Edey run the floor, you kind of take him out of his comfort zone.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to neutralize the guy, right? I mean,
he's going to
get player of the year. He's
going to get his.
What are you talking about?
If there was, you can't do it in Tennessee because they don't let you bet on collegiate individuals performance. But if there was a double bet for Edey, it's probably minus 500 because he's getting
having
a double
Joker stats.
Yeah. It's happening. He's going to get double-digit boards. He's going to score his points. But as long as the guards aren't knocking down shots, you can turn them over, and nobody else on that team's beating you. I think Purdue would agree with it. They don't really know who their second guy is, like you said earlier. Yeah, they got Edey. He's great. National candidate for player of the year. But who's going to step up to help him out?
Part of me really wants this to be 08 versus Michigan State. You just go in there and just stomp somebody that you were not supposed to stomp.
Talking about freaking Drew Neitzel is going to light up Derrick Rose, and then we just go in there and freaking DeAndre's got 6 blocks against Edey. KO's dunking on his head. Comes out, he only has 10 and 6.
Yeah, Neitzel and Kalen Lucas, these dudes that are supposed to be just be incredible, and then you go in and just shut them down, and it's
who's a freaking Texas guard? TJ Ford, is that who it was?
No, it was DJ Augustine.
DJ Augustine. Why am I thinking?
I'm pretty sure it's DJ Augustine.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
online that would match
TJ
up.
Ford is way older. Gosh, that would be beautiful.
I don't think it'll be like that. That was ridiculous.
I don't either.
That's kind of
I think I talked about it earlier. I truly can see Kendric having a Kemba Walker-esque tournament.
Sure.
I mean, we've talked about it already. He thrives in the spotlight. There is no bigger spotlight in collegiate basketball than the NCAA tournament. March Madness. I mean, you think about all the great guards that have just had massive tournaments over the year.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
I'm trying to think who in the Big Ten compares to Kendric at the point guard position. He's just so
anybody
fast.
Compares to Kendric. Kendric Davis with the basketball, it's unreal the things that he does and how quick he is and shifty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who to compare him to. There's not. He's Kendric Davis, the one and only. The true king of Memphis. Sorry, Joe.
I just don't know if anyone on Purdue has played someone as electric and as fast as Kendric. And I don't want to put it all on Kendric because I think DeAndre is incredible. Like if I could go back and say rank anyone from Penny's tenure, I'm going to put Kendric at 1 and probably DeAndre at 2 over James, over Precious, over
Not Kevon?
Jeremiah. Misunderstood the question.
What? I mean,
I
figured you
misunderstood
might
the
throw
question.
Davenport in there. All right.
I'm putting them as the best 2 players he's ever coached. And that's not to say the other guys couldn't have been better in their 5th years, but like these dudes are unbelievable. And I don't think we give them enough credit. The question is, can the supporting cast be anything of note, right? You can't go against Purdue and get into a situation where it's 2 30-point guys and then your next guy has 3 or 4 points. Like you can't have that. Like as much as we kind of crap on Big Ten basketball, Purdue is battle tested. Penn State's good. Ohio State's good. Indiana is good. Like there's so many. Michigan's good. Like we can keep doing this. Like
they're
They're not
good?
great, but
Are we just
good,
saying they're
great.
good because they all beat each other? I mean,
Well,
that's
they all
all.
have
Like
credible
we
wins.
just said it. They lost 4 of their last 8, and they had. Yes, they won the Big Ten Conference Tournament, but they beat Rutgers in the first game, who's been so up and down all year.
Yeah, that's
right.
fair.
Who lost 6 of their last 8. Rutgers did before the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Then they played Ohio State in the semifinals, who had already played 3 games before that day. I mean, those dudes started on Wednesday, playing Purdue on Saturday, who's only played 1 game, and they were without their leading scorer. And then played Penn State Sunday and almost blew a 17-point lead in the final 6 minutes. I'm just not.
They're so good.
They're
so
good. They're a 1 seed. They got arguably the best player in college basketball in Zach Edey, but I'm not scared of them. You know what they shoot from 3? They're 255th in the country from 3.
Was that like 34%?
32.6%.
That's not their game though. It's set up Edey and let him eat down low.
Yeah, but we're not gonna let them set up. We're gonna speed. We're gonna put them in a blender, and if it's 1 through 10, we're hammering that 10 button. They're gonna be sped up so quick. Me turning that rock over. Alo's picking pockets left and right. Your little freshman guards stand no chance against 2 5th-year seniors. Are you kidding me? I'm fired up. We're going to New York and Madison Square Garden, and I don't care if it's Duke or if it's Tennessee. That's a bucket list item for Trey Lastly, is watching his Tigs in Madison Square Garden, and you better believe I'm going to be there. Natalie's already altered her work schedule so that we can be there.
Okay. It's not bad.
I'm going to Madison Square Garden, and so are the Tigers.
We've touched on it 1,000 times. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Memphis is going to beat Purdue for sure. Like, in the question of who has the best player on the court, like, it's hard for me to say, but Edey's probably the better player. I mean,
but he's got the best duo on the court. 1-2 punch.
That is the second question. But you then, okay, who has the best 3 players? Who has the best 4? Who has the best 5? You keep trickling this down kind of thing. And I would not put money on the Tigers beating Purdue, but I definitely see a very viable process for them to go in and just, I don't want to say smoke Purdue, but definitely beat them. You know, a situation where they're up pretty good at halftime, as long as they're making their shots. And obviously a second half debacle is going to always happen. And then the Tigers still win by 8 or 9 points against the 1 seed Purdue, which is bananas to say, but
I would love it.
I think it's probably a close loss for Memphis if we just had to guess. I mean, what are we talking about? It's a 75% chance for Purdue to win.
I don't, you didn't give me all that percent chance crap. You play the game. Once that ball's thrown in the air, those percentages don't matter.
I just don't want to sound like a homer and get on here and say
75% chance isn't accounting for KD Kemba takeover. I'm going to stop calling him Kemba because it's just going to be a Kendric takeover. It's what everybody's going to refer to.
Well, we can presumably talk about it when it's like Duke, Tennessee.
I can't wait until next Monday night when we are recording and I'm 48 hours away from leaving for NYC.
That'd be pretty wild.
I will say this. I am nervous with the amount of people in the national media and just around the country that like us. Because I feel like whenever that happens and you're like a hot pick upset, it doesn't happen. It's like always the one that people are not expecting.
Well, I think that
or not talking about.
Well, yeah, we are a very senior veteran laden team, and you're going against
I know, but it
teams
does
that aren't. So like I get why they're doing it. It makes perfect, like on paper, Memphis makes so much sense to be in the Sweet 16.
It does.
In the
and
bracket
it's what we've talked about it. It's what everybody always talks about. Guard play in March, senior team. Penny built this team for this. He knew what it was, what it took, especially after playing Gonzaga last year. I just feel like the pieces are there, but it worries me that everybody is loving us right now. Makes me think it's not going to happen. But I still believe. TJ, have you filled out a bracket yet?
No, I'll probably do it.
I haven't either.
Tomorrow if I have time.
We talked
weird,
about this
dude.
before we started. You can't fill out a bracket before the play-in games because then ultimately they don't matter. They don't even count in any of the pools. So you're just giving yourself the opportunity to lose 2 games, 3 games, whatever. How many is it?
Yeah,
4 plans for no reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until that's in there. I also have to find consistency because I'm trying to put together like an algorithm, as nerdy as that sounds, but I'm trying to put something together, and I got to find consistent data. Like the teams aren't in alphabetical order on KenPom as they are somewhere else, and it's really messing some stuff up. It's really mucking my pile. I don't like it, but what are you gonna do?
That's tough. Yeah, I haven't filled one out yet either. I was going to ask you who your Final Four was.
If I'm going to just make something up off the top of my head,
I'm about to make it up off the top of my head.
I can look at it. I'm going to put Alabama. I think Alabama's ridiculous. They've got arguably the best player in college basketball.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's where it's like, oh yeah, we're talking about how good Alabama is. Memphis is going to be the 8th that beats the 1, and then it's going to be like, Alabama comes out of the first round and then loses to West Virginia, or first game and then loses to West Virginia. I guess what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I just think you get into a situation where we're going to get like, and I'm just making this up, like I think Houston, depending on Sasser's health, could make it all the way there.
I don't think they're going to.
I don't know who's going to beat them. I think Texas A&M is better than a 7 seed. I just don't see who stands in their way. Like Texas has looked pretty good. I'll just make it up, and I'm not going to dive too deep. I will say Houston, UConn. I really like UConn.
Wow.
Houston, UConn. Our bracket's so dang tough, dude.
Yeah, I don't. The hot pick in our bracket is Duke.
That?
Everybody's all over Duke.
They've played well lately. I'll give them that.
They are playing well.
John Shire's been under Coach K as a player and then as a coach for almost 10 years coaching. So like, well, who better to sponge under than Coach K, right? And they put it together kind of late. It's not the same Duke as we've always known, but like they're still good. I'm not going to take Duke. It pains me to say it. It's not true. I don't think Marquette can do it either. It's the thing is once you get by Purdue, it's a total freaking toss up in our bracket. I will say I don't want to say all ones. Alabama, Houston, UConn. And honestly, Part of me wants to say whoever wins between Purdue and Memphis.
It might not be a bad pick, Tej.
I'll say Purdue just to play the numbers. Just to play the numbers. So
Gosh,
Purdue,
you set it up.
UConn,
I thought he was going to do it.
Purdue, UConn, Houston, Alabama.
Yeah, I'm going. I don't think Houston, because I really don't know how healthy Sasser is, and if he's not healthy, I could see them losing to Iowa or Auburn. So I'm going to go Texas from the Midwest. I'm going Kansas from the West. So there's a 1 and 2. I do think Bama is good. I think they get there. And then I'm going us from our bracket. I'm taking it all the way. I want it.
And it sucks because you don't want to sound like a homer, but like if you
I
look
know.
at
I mean,
like,
I don't. When I pick my real
you
bracket,
could
I'm
be
probably
there.
not. I'm probably. I'll have to sit down and look at it. But so
I'll
Bama,
probably take
us,
Duke in reality for our bracket.
Texas, and Kansas.
So who'd you say? Let me write it down.
Now I'm second guessing. I said Alabama, us, Kansas, and Texas. It's my final 4.
All right.
For right now. But if you're a listener and you're not an insider yet, go to bluffcitymedia.co. Subscribe. When you do, use promo code TJ and Trey for 10% off your subscription. You get all sorts of merch, insider content. We are doing a bracket challenge that's only eligible for insiders. I think we're giving away like $500 and some merch and stuff for the winner.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Staff is eligible, so TJ and I will be in there. I'm not going to promise you that my final 4 in my bracket challenge is going to be the same that I just said, because I have been known to enter multiple pools with multiple different brackets.
That's the problem. Is I have like a heart bracket, one that I'm just like shooting from the shot. I'm like, that's who I want to win. Like freaking let me pick a random one here. Like obviously College of Charleston or Colgate. Like I don't think Colgate's gonna beat Texas, but I think Colgate's good enough.
Charleston's good. Sweet 16.
Yeah, Charleston gets Sweet 16. And like that's who I want to win, right? It's not that I think that College of Charleston is this unbelievable basketball team. I just look at it and say, okay, San Diego State's not that good. Maryland, West Virginia is a toss up. I mean, West Virginia's kind of lightning in a bottle. Maryland was really good in the Big Ten this year, but like no promises. And then I have a bracket where I put together some wild metrics that don't make any dang sense. And I follow what that one does no matter what. It could be a situation where Northern Kentucky is beating Houston game 1. What are you going to do? You followed the numbers, Trey.
That would be wild.
That would be awful for Houston, but I don't care.
All right. Well, we will see where we're at Monday. The stashes could be gone come Monday.
I don't know.
But for now,
I guess they kind of have to.
I have gotten some compliments. I've had a couple of people tell me to keep it.
We were at the Grizz game and like we were leaving, and my wife was like, I cannot believe it. I just went the entire basketball game with you wearing that.
Oh, I forget.
She didn't think anything of it.
I forget that it.
Remember it's there.
Yeah, I mean, we had to go into work in the office last week, and nobody said anything until I said something. It's like, you guys haven't said anything, and they're like, oh, yeah, we just thought you were just mustaching.
Just wearing a mustache, does.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, TJ, shout out to the women. They're hosting and in the women's NIT. They're hosting Jackson State Thursday at El Marone, 7 p.m. The first time they've been in the NIT in like, was it 10 years, something?
Something like that, yeah.
20 win season. Thought they had a shot at getting in the NCAA after South Florida got knocked off in the AAC tournament, but fell just short against East Carolina. They went like 1 of 24 or something from 3.
I don't even know they made one.
They did. They made one at the end of the East Carolina game, but
did they?
Just got cold at the wrong time, right?
Yeah, I turned that one off. It was brutal.
Shots aren't falling, and you're playing in a tournament. It's gonna be tough to advance. So, but shout out to them. If you haven't checked them out, try to get it out to El Marone. And then, TJ, we got spring football starting on Sunday. I know we are in the midst of March Madness, but football season, at least for the spring, is heating up. It's real close.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
there's so many position battles I can't wait to
yeah,
see,
looking
but we're
forward
not
to
going
it.
to talk on that just yet. We'll wait until spring practice comes around.
Got to save it. All right, Teach. Let's bring it on home with this Bring It On Home.
Bring it on home with Bring It On Home. It's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. It's
First
a big
things,
beer.
I'm going to take my background off so I can actually display the can correctly.
I was real confused when your wife showed up. She's like, your beer's in the fridge. I was like, it is in the fridge, but why are you telling me this?
Yeah.
And she's like, Trey had me bring a beer.
They wouldn't let me buy singles of this, so I had to buy a 4-pack, which is
Oh, really?
not a problem. I've got 2 left, and I will drink them. This was good.
Yeah, I would definitely drink these again.
I mean, a Hell's Lager, isn't that what these are?
Yes.
I like the can, to be honest with you. You got the record. I don't know if you see that.
I do see it.
And do you know why that's there? I looked this up earlier.
I don't. Tell me.
So it had no, see, hold on. Let me make sure I'm getting this right.
Dude. All right. Well, Trey's playing around over here. I'm going to talk about the can. You can see the bridge, right?
I know I love it because it's legit like Riverside. They are walking down Riverside.
Yeah, they're walking down Riverside is what you see there.
Like you can tell that that's the Memphis skyline.
Yeah, you got the Raymond James building. Shout out to anyone that
so
works
it
at
is
Raymond
Bring It On
James.
Home. It's Bring It Home based on Bring It On Home from Carla Thompson and Otis Redding. The song, originally written in 1962 by Sam Cooke, became a pop standard and covered by numerous artists across genres, and is one of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll.
I will say I don't know if I understand the red, all the red on red on red.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about either.
It's all red tinted. This is all like the streets.
Yeah, she's a redhead. She's wearing a red dress. Yeah. Her nails are red. I don't know. It's like one of those. Did you ever have when we were in like middle school or high school, that camera that did that filter where it would like filter out all the colors but one?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
This also kind of looks it's like comic booky, you know?
Yeah, I definitely get comic book vibes to it. I don't love the can. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna give it like a 6.4. I do like the Riverside Drive thing, but that's really just about it for me. Like, yeah, knowing the record makes sense now.
Yeah.
But I don't like the red. I don't like the fat logo. You can't see a dang thing, dude. Yeah, that Bring It On Home. I don't know. I don't like that part too much.
That does
so
feel
I'm
a
gonna
little
give it a
big.
6.4 on the can.
It feels a little big. I like the skyline that you can tell it's Memphis. I like the comic booky feel. The Bring It Home's a little big. I like incorporating the record here because of Otis and Carla Thompson. I like that she's grabbing his hand and leading him home.
Okay.
I'm going to go. I also, you know what I also low-key like is the gold top. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah. I didn't think anything
can
about
is silver,
that.
but the top is gold. I like that.
It's interesting.
I'm gonna go 7.6 on this can. I like this can.
Okay.
It's a good can.
What about the beer? I like the beer. I thought it was real good.
I think it's great. It's much lighter. I don't know why I mean, I knew it was going to be light, but it's just like,
it does say crisp and gold on it.
I know, but it just had it like, I don't want to say like it was like drinking. It wasn't drinking a beer because that makes it sound bad in a sense. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't.
It was probably just like drinking a beer.
I don't know. I guess because we've been just doing so many heavy IPAs and stuff.
Yeah, I get you. No, it's light. It's easy
crisp.
to drink. You could definitely drink a couple of them. I really like it. There's enough flavor in it where it's not like
it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, it's like not there's enough. Not like too much going on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 7.9. I really like it, but there's a little malt on the back end.
There is. Kind of, I mean, that's a little bit of water. It's that German hop. but it is very, very smooth, and they've got it written here as a pale golden, and that pale that's in the very accurate description for me.
Yeah,
it's just like that.
What's
light.
your score?
This was good. I've got 2 more in the fridge, and I definitely will drink those.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying right now. I'm just saying, like, Friday night FAU, I might be bringing it home.
Bringing home a championship.
This was good, TJ. I'm gonna go 8-2 on this.
8-2. Okay. Gonna be honest, it's probably one of our higher beers. Wow, a Tide Wiseacre Tiny Bomb.
I mean, it's a good one.
It is a good beer. Shout out to Soul and Spirits, because we kind of said this earlier. They are a new brewery.
First time on the show.
Haven't heard of.
So shout out to you guys. They got a cool little logo with the kings and queens in there.
I do like that logo. I was trying to make sense of it, and I was like,
it's
this kind of
like
reminds me of the LeBron logo.
It does look a little bit. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I can see that.
Crown and a unicorn. That's the vibes I get when I look at that.
Yeah.
All right. That's the beer, man.
I missed your rating. What'd you rate the beer?
Now you're gonna make me forget. Let me pull it back up. Sorry. I think I said a 7.9. I just don't want to lie to you. Let me pull it up just to confirm. Yes, I said a 7.9. I like it. I mean, it's definitely good. You know how I am about that.
Wow. Did you see this, TJ?
You're not gonna make me change my score.
They have a QR code on it. It says scan for music inspiration and food pairings.
All right, maybe that will make me change my score. I'll take it up to a 6.6 because I think that is kind of cool. After telling you that you wouldn't make me change my score. You scan it?
Yeah, it just took me to the Soul and Spirits page.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
All right.
But now it's got a spot that says Taproom Tunes, and they've got their own playlist on Spotify that matches.
All right, it's back to a 6.6.
Here we go. Here is Bring It On Home for those of you that haven't heard it.
It's not called Bring It. Oh, you mean the song Bring It On Home?
This shaped rock and roll, TJ. Wow, you know what I just realized? I think all of their beers are after, because they've got, when I was buying this, I noticed they have a Hoochie Coochie, and on their playlist is I'm Your Hoochie Coochie by Muddy Waters. I think all of their beers line up with old rock and roll songs.
What about that Spanish Harlem one? Harlem, whatever it's called.
There is Aretha Franklin, Spanish Harlem.
Okay, that's kind of what what's the name of the beer, though? That's not the name of the beer, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. I think it actually is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one John was talking about, right?
No, that's the one I said.
Oh.
We're talking about.
Wow.
Okay.
Soul and Spirits. Shout out to you guys. All right, Tej. I hope to see you Monday with a plane ticket to the Big Apple booked. Come to the Cold Beer Chevy Hot Takes. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, please leave a like and a comment wherever you download your podcasts. Head over to bluffcitynil.com for comprehensive coverage of Memphis Tiger athletics. We will see you back here next week.